Lately, God's been dealing with something in my heart that I really didn't want to deal with. I've been choosing comfort and calling it peace or rest or waiting or whatever you want to call it. I was calling it all of those things. And the problem with that is good enough became my default. So without realizing it, I started just opting out of my own life. So today we're going to talk about excellence and not in a perfection hustle type of way, but the kind that costs comfort and brings you back into the life that God is calling you to. So this has been a recent thing. I know that a lot of times people, and I've done this myself, a lot of times people come up with different words of the year or whatever. A couple years ago, mine was discipline, and I failed miserably on that one. But this year, I just keep feeling the Lord press the word excellence into my heart. And this came up a couple weeks ago because I was talking to one of my daughters. I have five daughters, and I was talking to one of them, and I can't remember what she was trying to not do, but she was trying to get out of doing something. And I was like, excellent. You need to shoot for excellence. And then right away I was convicted. And I'm like, I don't shoot for excellence. Like, there's a lot of places in my house that I just don't clean because I don't want to. So either I just pretend like it's not there, or I don't clean it as often as I should, or another I guess, example is right now my stove needs to be wiped down. And it has needed to be wiped down for probably a week. And I just keep like every night I cook on it, every night I do dishes, and I'm just like, oh, the grates are still hot. Like I'll do it in a little while. And then I just don't. And it's gross. It irritates me. But it's just things like that I just kind of overlook because I can do it later or I just don't want to. That's a phrase that comes up a lot in my mind, and that's nothing new either. That's kind of part of what has gotten me to where I am in life is it's almost like a toddler voice. Like, I just don't want to. I don't want to do that right now. It feels too hard. I don't want to put in that much effort. Like all of these different things. But now it keeps coming back to excellence. And I feel like I am wasting the life that God gave me because I'm not shooting for excellence. And the Bible verse that talks about working unto the Lord and not unto men, I just feel like that has been such a loud voice in my head lately. Because if I believe that the Bible is true and that Jesus is who he says he is in there and that he died on the cross for me and came to give me life abundant, if I believe all of that and I am not working like he's the only one that I need to impress or I need to please or that I need to do things for, then I'm missing the whole point. It's basically me saying that everything that he's done for me, like, yeah, that's great, but I'm just gonna live this comfortable life and I've been so crazy blessed in my life. I've had a lot of hard things happen, but I've been so blessed. And he has never left me. He has always been there for me. He has carried me through the hard times, and yet I'm not doing anything in return. In one way that's coming up is in my health and not taking care of my body. And it's so easy to get in our head, like to make a decision and then to get in our head about it because everyone around us is living a mediocre life. Um, it's easier to grab takeout. It's easier to stop and grab a snack if you're feeling bored or lonely. It's easier to grab takeout if you've had a busy day or if you just feel frazzled and like time has gotten away from you. All of these things are easy, but they don't contribute to our life in any way. And I'm not saying that you can't ever have fun things or eat things that aren't the greatest for you. That is not the point of this. The point is that when it becomes a habit, it starts to take over your life because you don't feel well. So the more you don't feel well, you don't want to put in the effort to do the little things that would be considered excellence in your life. And it's just like a snowball that compounds over and over. And so I have also had a lot of times in my life where I tend to think, why does this even matter? Like one of the things that my husband and I laugh about all the time is I make my bed every morning. It does something. I don't know why I like it. I didn't used to. Like that was a thing that I started when I became an adult, but I can't stand it if my bed's not made. And he doesn't care because he's like, we're gonna get in again tonight. Who cares? But I do care. And so it's little things like that that it's really easy to say, why, what's the point? Why do I need to do this? But I think that that's keeping up with the things that, the Lord has given us and blessed us with and taking care of them and just having a higher standard, just holding yourself to a higher standard because that's what we should be doing if we're working unto the Lord or as unto the Lord. Um, One of the things that I started to talk about is that comfort has become my go-to. So if it's not comfortable, if it's not, if it's something I have to put effort into, or if I think I'm going to be too uncomfortable, or something that's hard, or something that stresses me out, like social situations, easy for me to say, right? Social situations tend to give me anxiety and kind of freak me out a little bit. So I've just gotten to a place where like I literally just don't want to leave my house. Like I just want to stay here and read books or work on my business behind the scenes or do whatever. And I just don't feel like that is the life that God has for me. And I'm letting this comfort, this feeling of comfort take over when in reality, it's not comfortable. I'm not comfortable in my body when I have to go do physical things. I'm not comfortable in my body when I go out into society. Like there's a lot of things that I'll talk about in a different video. I gotta stay on topic for this video, but there's a lot of things that hold me back from truly being myself when I'm out with other people. And on the money side of things, um, paying for things that, paying for dinners out or paying for convenience things or whatever, like all of those things have caused different financial concerns or financial stresses over the years. And so you think that you're living in comfort, but you're actually creating discomfort for yourself in another way. And so that's just kind of been like brought to the forefront of my mind in this whole chasing after excellence thing. Um Another thing that came out of this is that seeking comfort has caused me to seek quick wins, or I would give up and go back to mediocre and go back to the comfortable misery that I've been living in. And I would chase like diets that promise, 15 pounds in a month, or like I said, like having debt because I was chasing quick wins, like finding all of these different business coaches and they were all selling high ticket or they were telling me to do this or telling me to do that. And I would buy into their program that I couldn't afford. I would buy into their program because they were promising quick money. And I wanted quick money. I wanted a skinny body and I wanted it quickly. And I didn't want to put in the effort and I didn't want to put in the consistency and I didn't want to give up my favorite foods. And there was also, like when you're talking about giving up food, I mean, let's be real. I'm not talking about giving up everything that you love. I'm not talking about giving up any food that could possibly be considered like bad. I mean, I don't think they're bad. I just think they're less nutritious. But when you start talking about all of those kinds of things, immediately your brain is like, we don't want to do that. You're depriving yourself. You don't have to live life that way. You know, God made food good and we can eat whatever food there is. And um, it's just not true. It's just your brain feeding you lies when you try to move forward into having a better life for yourself. But it's so easy when you're surrounded by it and your brain is offering up all these excuses that it's been living with for so long. It's really hard to push through that, to push through that and to stay consistent and to put in the hard, boring work that nobody sees to actually create change in your life, which would open up so much freedom if we would stick to it. And so we just don't. We run fast run fast and then um, fall back off quite quickly because it's just too hard and it's too much to keep up. Um, Another thing that I chased was knowledge. And I had mentioned that in my video from the other day that I have several health and life coaching certifications. I've read probably hundreds and hundreds of books at this point. I'm always looking for the next best thing, the thing that's going to move the needle quickest. The problem is when I actually step in to try to make a change, now I have all these ideas and all of these people telling me all of these different ways that all contradict each other. They're all telling me what I should do. And so it's like paralyzation because I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? What's going to make me the quickest money? What's going to help me lose weight the quickest? What's going to help me, get my health back the quickest? What is going to help me whatever it is, do all these things the quickest? When if I would just pull it back and go back to the basics and keep it simple and be intentional and be consistent, the basics work. And I'm not saying that all these other things don't work because they can, but they also are usually the culmination of somebody that has done all of the boring behind the scenes things and taken years and years and years. And then they come out and promote it like it's going to happen extremely quickly. And coming to that realization that I was chasing that and that I was constantly just looking for knowledge but not applying it, that changed everything for me. And I started backing it up to feeling like I needed to have my own back and to trust my own gut and to believe that if I feel convicted about something, that that's the Lord talking to me, and that if I hear him wrong, he's going to course correct me. But going back to the business I know he's calling me to, going back to the way of eating that I know he's calling me to, like those are all things that I just have to block out the noise from everybody else. I mean, some people are going to do great on carnivore. Some people are going to do great on keto. Some people mix them together. Some people can do like a keto, but they can't have dairy. So they have to substitute that kind of thing. Like everybody's so different. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's body is different. Everybody has, a different lifestyle of where they eat and how they eat. And, there's a lot of cultures that center around food and that is being with family. And so there's some nuances there. And it's so easy to try to chase what everybody else is doing when in reality, deep down in your gut, you know what you're supposed to do. But instead of doing it because it's going to be boring and you have to be consistent and you have to show up, um, and nobody's giving you accolades for it. And you're probably the odd one out because a lot of people are living in that comfortable misery and are not willing to put in the work to change it. And so we seek out the knowledge, but yet we're not applying it. And so that's another part where I finally have come to the place where if I feel in my gut I'm supposed to do something, I'm going to do it. And my prayer is that I do it immediately and that I'm obedient and that I don't drag this out because this started. I mean, I've been overweight for a really, really long time, but I very specifically remember on my 36th birthday. No, I was 36. I was turning 37. And I remember very specifically telling my husband, I will not come into 38 the way I came into 37 as far as my weight goes. And I'm going to turn 46 in July, and I'm actually heavier now than I was then. So it's just the time passes anyways. So wanting to have the quick fix has actually cost me years because I've constantly been chasing more knowledge. I need to know more, and this person's promising quicker results. And so I chase that, but then it's too hard and it doesn't work and it doesn't fit into my lifestyle and it doesn't work for my body. And then um, why am I not being able to think of the word? I get discouraged and I quit. And then, I have to nurse my wounds for a couple weeks and then I'm going to start again and I'm going to do it this time. But if I would have just went back to the simple basics and was just boring and consistent and showed up every day and made the next right choice, if I would have done that when I was turning 37, I wouldn't have all the debt I have. I wouldn't have the body I have. Like my life would be so different. And so I just feel like there needs to be like a draw a line in the sand kind of moment where like I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to continue this cycle anymore. I've wasted all of these years. And if I don't change something, I'm going to be the same when I turn 57. Like I have to make that change. And so I'm still reading books. But I'm done with all of the social media influencing and everybody saying you have to do it this way. I'm done chasing the quick thing. At this point in my life, I know what works for my body. I know what my body needs. I've done lab work. I know all of that different stuff. So I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm going to stop living the lies that my brain wants to tell me because I know what I need to do. And I read a story somewhere about somebody, it might have actually been Michael Jordan. I can't remember. But somebody said that once he made a decision, it was done. He didn't think about it anymore. Like there was no more decision fatigue. So for instance, um, on the 5th of this year, I went off sugar again, which immediately my brain wants to be like, you're going to deprive yourself. There's no reason. People are just saying you don't have to have sugar. Like, it'll be fine. You can have it in moderation. I know that my body needs a break from sugar. I know that it's a very slippery slope for me. And I need to make that decision and then not think about it again. And if my brain starts the, yeah, but what about this? What about that? Deprivation, blah, 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 do it in moderation. If my brain starts all that crap, I need to shut it down and be like, I made the decision. I'm walking this out. Like there is no more discussion. It's no different than when my kids were little and we'd be in the store and they'd start throwing a fit for candy at the checkout. No. Like we're not doing that. We're going home to eat dinner. You're not getting candy today. You can get it another day. It didn't matter how much they threw a fit. They were not getting it that day. And I was very strict with that, but I'm not strict with myself. So that was kind of an eye-opening thing like, oh, like this doesn't have to be exhausting because I can literally just make a decision and that's it. Like, that's it. I made the decision. I'm following that decision, and that is it. So, those are some of the things that um, my brain kind of wants to give up that I've started so that I can start walking down this road to excellence. Um, I also have kind of seen this pattern of wanting comfort and wanting things to be easy and not wanting to challenge themselves in my kids. And my youngest is 17, my oldest is almost 26. And if I could go back and start over, there's so many things I would do different with my kids. And I know a lot of us say that, but if I don't start that now, they're never going to see the change in me. Like they're going to look at me and be like, "Yeah, you always say you're going to lose weight." They're going to look at me and be like, you get on us for eating junk food, but you're always eating junk food." Or you always tell us that we have so much talent and we could do, this or that business and work for ourselves, but yet you talk about it all the time and you never go out and build it. Or don't worry about what people think, yet you worry about what people think. And so I just really feel like this excellent thing or excellence thing, I mean, it came out as I was talking to my youngest daughter. And I just feel like, how can I tell her that she needs to strive for excellence and that as a Christian, we should be looking for excellence in everything that we do? How do we do that? Or how do I preach that to her if I'm not going to walk it out? And so I need to walk it out. And this needs to be my line in the sand. And like I said before, I really want to lean into that intuition and that gut feeling and trusting that the Lord's calling me to something. So when something just doesn't go away, that's usually him talking to you. And usually, he's shining a light on something that you need to pay attention to. And right now, that's just excellence for me. Um, so I have 5 things. I touched on some of these, but I have 5 things that I'm doing to kind of chase excellence. And the first one I already talked about, it was cutting out sugar. And that's kind of for me, it's just to regain control over food. When I'm eating sugar, it's a very slippery slope. And I can say just cut down on sugar, and I can say that I want to just eat it sparingly, or that I just want to like have an 80/20 diet or whatever. But it's a very slippery slope. If I'm eating sugar, if I'm eating processed carbs, if I'm eating all of those things, it does not take long before I'm pretty much only eating that stuff again. And when I only eat that stuff, it changes everything. I have no clarity of mind. I'm tired. I don't sleep well. I get headaches. I'm sure there's something to do with my sugar in there, but it just makes me feel like trash. And so if I know that the Lord is calling me to do things in my life and I want to do things. I want to be active. I have two little boys, grandsons, and I want to be able to be active with them. The 2-year old is very active, and I'm sure he's only going to get more active as he grows. So I want to be present and be around for them and be able to play ball with them. He loves baseball. And so I want to be able to do all those things. My husband and I are probably going to be going on an elk hunt this fall. I want to be able to go hike. We call them mountains because we're pretty much flatlanders where we live, but they are definitely big hills compared to the flat farmland that I live in. I want to be able to go do that and not want to freaking die at the end because I'm so tired. Like I want to go be active and I want to be active. Like I don't want to just want to come home and sit in my chair and watch TV. Like that's not a life that I want anymore. And so that's a lot to put on sugar and cutting out sugar, but that's what it does to me. It takes my life away. And so working through all the other mental stuff that I'm not going to talk about right now, but working through that, I feel like gives me the ability to be like, yeah, I don't need sugar. I'm choosing to not eat sugar. I'm opting out of sugar. And I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know if there's going to come a point where I can have a little bit and not fall off the wagon, but right now it just needs to go. So that is number one is cutting out sugar. I'm focusing on whole foods and not sugar or processed carbs or things like that. The second thing I did was took Facebook off of my phone. I have noticed that I am also doom scrolling way too much. I don't really have an issue with Instagram, and I sometimes do Instagram for business things. So that's still on my phone, but I don't go on there and scroll like I do Facebook. So I took Facebook off of my phone. If I go on Facebook, it's maybe like 5 minutes on my desktop, and then I get back off of there. And I've noticed that when I'm on there, I am not creative. I don't have a creative idea ever. I feel like I have nothing to say. I don't want to show up. I am comparing myself. And it got even to the point where I was just kind of getting bored with my life. Like things that used to excite me or that I used to have fun doing or whatever, it was just like, meh, like I don't really care if I do that. I don't really want to do that. Like it was seriously just making me feel like that was the only thing I got joy from. That was the only thing that like lit up my dopamine receptors was scrolling on Facebook. And that is disgusting. That is a disgusting way to live life. And that is definitely not in the category of excellence. um, it steals from us. And I know that everybody thinks that you can just do it a little bit. And if you can, that's great. Um, but I just need some time away from that and to be intentional in my own life. And a lot of times when I feel like I can't hear from the Lord, it's because the voices on social media are too loud and they're in my head and I'm listening to things that other people are saying and then questioning, is that really God telling me that? Like I really don't know because there's so many voices. So that's just another way that I need to take the voices out um and just get back to listening to what God has for me to do and just taking away that scrolling. Another thing that I'm implementing is to stop walking by things that take less than 5 minutes to take care of. So I don't really have an issue with like getting laundry out and folding it. I don't mind doing that. But little things like taking 2 minutes to scrub down the toilet or taking a couple minutes to do the dishes in the sink. Like we think that it takes forever to do dishes. And I got in this argument with my girls the one time because when they were all home, they used to rotate dish night and they always made it sound like it was such this big deal. So I timed myself one night and unloading the whole dishwasher and loading it back up and wiping down all the counters took me like 4 minutes. And I was like, this is ridiculous that we're arguing over that. It's not a big deal. Just do it and move on with your life. And so my house has stayed so much cleaner when I take this approach. Like instead of walking by a box that needs to go out to the trash, like run it out to the trash. It takes 30 seconds. So instead of just walking by things and letting them sit there and then being irritated because there's clutter or whatever it is, if it's less than 5 minutes, I just do it. Like I don't think about it. That's kind of the rule I've made in my head. So if I see something, I just do it. And I think there's a sense of accomplishment as well because like you're kind of going the extra mile and it like eases you into not having to be super uncomfortable because it's literally not a big deal. Um there was on a podcast one time Bedros Koulian was sharing this story and this kind of goes into this like not looking at the little details. And he was talking about for people that were at a business conference and they were like, I don't know how much they were making, like different business owners, anyways. They were all business owners. And he went in the men's bathroom at a break and one of the guys had made a mess in the stall. Like you can use your imagination. And like he was fighting mad that they would go in there and leave the bathroom like that. And so he like cleaned it up and went back out and he like let them have it when they got back in session because he's like, you're making six figures in your business. You'll never get to multiple seven figures if you leave a mess like that. Like you have to have attention to detail and you have to care about the little things. And I feel like that's excellence. Like not just letting little things like let somebody else do it. I'm better than that. I'm going to let somebody else do it. And right after I was listening to that on the way to the grocery store, and after I got to the grocery store, I noticed that I had something in my cart. And I'm like, oh, I'll just like stick it up on the shelf and keep going. And I was like, no, no. If you're going to have excellence in your life, that is not something that somebody would do that's striving for excellence. Like if you leave it there, somebody has to go put it back. Like stop acting like a toddler, put your stuff away. So I walked all the way to the back of the store and put it back where I got it. And it really wasn't that serious. It didn't take that long. It certainly isn't going to hurt me to have extra steps. But just little things like that, it didn't take very long. But me actually doing it is important and it makes a difference. And it just shows that you're not willing to overlook like the little things or to push things off on people, like to take responsibility for your own actions. And so that is the third thing that I'm doing to strive for excellence. The fourth thing I'm doing is getting back to drinking mostly water. Over the holidays, I was drinking way too much pop. I live in Michigan, so we call it pop. If you call it soda, Coke, whatever. But I was drinking way too much. And that is one thing that I love and can get so addicted to because I love the taste of it. And I just needed to kind of cut back on the caffeine. And I know that that stuff is not good for you. So it's not that I'm still having it. I'm not cutting it out completely, but I am making sure that I'm drinking water when I first wake up, that I'm pushing water throughout the day. And once in a while, I'll have, a pop with dinner or something. But I'm still trying to make sure that I'm choosing water more than that. And then I'm getting in a certain amount of water every day as well. And then the last one that I'm doing is to just move on those gut instincts and that intuition immediately because I'm convinced that when you're walking with the Lord, those gut intuitions and having that feeling of go this way, do that thing, eat this way, go talk to that person, pay for this person's coffee, like whatever it is, that's the Lord talking to you. And so I'm really practicing on even the little teeny tiny things. If I feel that intuition or that push or that gut feeling, like reacting to that immediately to show obedience to the Lord. That is another thing that I feel like to live in excellence and to have an excellent life, you have to be obedient immediately. I mean, that's what we want for our kids to do to us. So why would it be any different for our Father in heaven that, you know, he's always going to have us do something so that it's for our good and his glory. So why wouldn't we want to obey that? Um, and so those are the five things, like I said, that I'm doing. I'm sure there's going to be more. This list is going to get bigger, but right now, those are the five things that I am doing to chase excellence and to stop living a life of mediocrity or a life of comfortable misery and just kind of staying focused on all of these things that I'm doing that's actually putting myself in a place where it's still hard and uncomfortable. And I don't like that. Like, I would rather do the things that make me hard and uncomfortable that's going to change my life instead of leaving me in just kind of this meh state. Like, I could take it or leave it. Like, yeah, life's great, but I want my life to be amazing. And I don't know how long I'm going to be here. And I know that there are people that God put me here to help. So I just want to strive for that perfection. And that's not saying I'm never going to rest or I'm going to be crazy hardcore or anything like that, because I do think that obviously rest is necessary as well. But I don't think that by you resting gives up on chasing excellence. So if this episode hit a nerve, here's the part that most people skip is actually doing something about it. If there's something that I talked about that you would love to do, but it feels too hard, don't push that off. Like you can act on it in your very next action or very next decision making process or whatever that looks like for you, whatever the situation is. Um, but listening and not putting anything into action, it's just like reading a book and not implementing what you read. It's pointless. Like, what is the point of consuming and never applying it? Because, like I talked about before, you can get all this information and have information overload. But unless you do something with what you're learning, it's a waste. It's just information overload. Um, Awareness without action just turns into another, yeah, that was a good episode, but then it changes nothing. And this is part of the reason that I created the 100 pounds down community. Um, I didn't create it for another diet, another food plan, workouts, any of that. It's nothing like anything you've probably done before. Um, we're not focusing on white knuckling it and motivation and all of these things. I just really feel like everybody actually knows within them what to do. We just don't do it. And I've lived this for years, so I understand it. But now I am doing it, and that's where things are changing. And so I just want this to be a place that you can stop opting out. Like when you feel something, you can actually show up and be consistent, do it with intention, not because you think somebody else is telling you that you should. And also accountability. You know, all of us in there running for the same thing, which is excellence. And all of our journeys are going to look different, but that's okay. Like we can still cheer each other on and we can still ask questions and get feedback and have people help us see the blind spots that we can't see. It's so easy to get stuck in our own lane that sometimes we can't see what's going on over here. And so having that accountability is something that has really helped me. And I think it would really help you as well. So if you're done choosing good enough or you're done choosing mediocrity or I like to say comfortable misery because I feel like that's what a lot of us live in. Um, Go ahead and check out my 100 pounds down community at NicoleYoungCoaching.com. I will also leave that in the show notes. And I just want to leave you with this. Nothing changes unless something changes. You don't have to do it alone and you only have to take the first step and then just keep taking the next step and the next step and the next step. So again, if you want to come hang out in my community, go ahead and check out NicoleYoungCoaching.com and I will see you guys on the next one.